Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 526. Today is the 11th of December 2024, and we got a couple of quick announcements along with announcing, if you're not on the email list, the Semantic Mastery holiday sale that's going on. I'll get to that in a minute though. But first wanted to say hi to Chris and Bradley and then jump into announcements and then answer your questions. So Chris, how you doing today?
Doing good. Busy as usual, finishing the year strong as it's supposed to be. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. Bradley, how about yourself? I think you said you had some snow, right?
Yeah, it's stupid. It was 60 degrees yesterday, and today it's 30 and snowing. And it's been snowing all goddamn day, and it's just crappy and cold again. And the power went out for an hour earlier. And in an RV, when the power goes out and the heat stops, it gets cold quick. And so after about 15 minutes of the temperatures declining, I said, "That's it. I'm going shopping." I went grocery shopping and came back, and the power was on, thank God. So but yeah, somebody last week I saw in the comment was like, "Why is he living in an RV?" And just so everybody knows, it's because my daughter went to college last year, and I sold or got moved out of my house, bought this RV, and I'm having property developed. And it's the first of several kind of properties that I'm creating for my retirement plan, which are or ATV rental properties. And so I'm living in an RV at a campground near the property that is being developed while it's being developed. And so at some point next year, I'm going to buy a house. I'll probably buy a house in Pikeville, Kentucky, which is about an hour drive from here, about 45 minutes to an hour drive from where I'm at currently in Virginia. But it's a much bigger city. I mean, relative to where I'm at, it's a bigger city and it's got a lot more stuff. Right where I'm at now in southwestern Virginia is very rural. There's not very much here. And so I drive to Pikeville 3, 4 times a week now because that's where everything is. And so I'm probably going to end up buying a house out there next year sometime. So anyway, just a quick background to kind of update
No,
why I'm
that's good. I
living in an
just saw
RV.
that on the last one, and I'm like, maybe we should cut a video out of that.
So
We just had a question on the page. Actually, this is handy because Bradley, I was going to ask you to talk a little bit about DHA because we will be opening up
yep.
DHA for the next cycle later in January. But we had somebody here, Adam, who is asking about, he really wants to join the local SEO course that Bradley does, but I'm confused which link should I purchase. So I was asking him, you're either talking about the mastermind or DHA probably. There could be something else, but I think those are the two. So the mastermind is more the SOPs, the community covering all things local SEO, and whether that's growing a team, whether it's local updates, whether it's GBP stuff. And then DHA is going into the directory hybrid agency method, which is a very specific way of prospecting. So could you kind of talk about DHA a little bit, Bradley, just for people who may not have heard about it yet?
Yeah, hold on. I'm replying. Um, so what's up, lizards? I prefer the term reptiles instead. What's up, SEO Fox and Adam? Yeah, so there's really kind of two things, guys. And next year, um, in addition to the DHA program, phase one being group three, so it'll be the third time we're going to launch phase one of the DHA program, which is creating the prospecting machine to generate leads for your own agency, creates the directory, you start targeting low competition areas for whatever industry you've selected to start building local lead generation assets that then you can use as a sales tool to help you sell your SEO services. So that's the directory hybrid agency training phase one. That is the first, you have to go through that to get to phase two. Phase two is sales and fulfillment. We will be launching phase two at the same time that we launch phase one group three next year. So that's only graduates from phase one will be invited or be able to join the phase two group. That's a 6-week program for sales and fulfillment. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that for our graduates that want to join that. But as far as what I was going to say was also next year, we are going to be doing some different promotional methods that will kind of may address some of like what the question is from Adam here about local SEO course, because we're going to be kind of doing some launches next year that are going to be about various local SEO training programs that we have currently available in our mastermind. So, for example, one of them is the LLG sites or the local lead generation sites, which is part of the DHA program, but can also be kind of a standalone training program with templates and SOPs on how to deploy the sites both in HighLevel and in WordPress so that you can build them on whichever platform you prefer. But that's something that we're going to be doing and launching sometime at the first quarter of next year as a separate kind of training program. It's currently available in the mastermind if anybody wants it now. But to get back to Adam's question specifically, the local SEO training is going to be the mastermind. That is currently what it is. Okay. The DHA program is also available in the mastermind for all mastermind members. It doesn't cost anything additional to get all of the training. The only thing is the DHA coaching program, which is an additional coaching program because it's much more intensive. And it gets, you get access to me every single day for 45 minutes to an hour for an office hours call where I can jump on Zoom meetings with you and answer questions and provide specific guidance and support and all that kind of stuff. We also have weekly accountability meetings and various one-on-one meetings with me throughout that three one-on-one accountability meetings with me throughout the 12-week program. So it's a very intensive coaching program to keep people that need the additional accountability and somebody to basically crack the whip, kick them in the ass and get them to do stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of what I do with that coaching program and also provide support and guidance. But for people that are able to do it on their own and self-manage their time and are ambitious, you can certainly do it by just joining the mastermind. So because all the training's available, the SOPs and everything is there. So it's just if you need the additional coaching, that's what the DHA program is for. And some of you need that. I get it. But some of you can do it on your own. So the short answer, which I probably should have led with, is join the mastermind because that's the local SEO training, but that includes everything that we do. We don't have a standalone course for just local SEO yet. It's all part of the mastermind. Okay. Beautiful. Moving on.
Right, I've got to unmute myself. Well, that I think answered the question and looks like he'll be joining the mastermind. So I put the link into the holiday sale. It's a little long, so I'm not going to try to spell it out. But if you're not on the email list for Semantic Mastery, head over to semanticmastery.com, hop on the email list. We send out a lot of really good information, but also deals like this. If you're catching the replay, make sure you do the same. We'll be doing this for a limited period of time leading up to Christmas, so make sure you check that out and grab what you need.
Yep.
Let's see, guys. Anything else before we get started?
No, I think we're good.
All right, let's do it.
All right, great. We got a bunch of questions again. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, sweet. First one's from James Foley. James, what's up, man? It's been a while since I've heard that name. It's been quite a while. So what's up, James? He says, hey, brother, they have different social accounts for all the different subdomain locations. What should I put on the main domain organizational schema? Should I put the subdomains as same as schema? I noticed you don't have organizational schema on felling.pro, so I'm not sure if that's needed. That's a great question, James. You're right. I don't have it on felling.pro. I just haven't done it yet, to be honest with you. Because that's going to be massive. And why I recommend, yes, you can and should put organization schema on the root domain or the direct, whatever, however. Remember, I just have on Felling Pro, I've just got it set up as a location directory on the root domain. That's essentially all it is. Okay. You can have a full-blown website on the root domain, certainly. And then I would just have a page on the site that would be like a location directory, right? And so in any case, however you have it, the root domain, yes, should have organization schema. And then it can reference each of the locations with local business schema. Now, technically, they should have local business or Google business profiles, right? So that it's a real valid physical location. But you can do local business schema without a street address. So you can still create local business schema that would be referenced within the organization schema to show the various locations. So each location would have its own local schema instance that would be connected or referenced within the organization schema, right? With the parent organization being, in this case, Felling Pro. So yeah, you can. I should have that. I just haven't done it yet. What I do is the schema on the subdomain sites, excuse me. So the individual sites, you'll see that like if we go view this one, you'll see that I have organization schema on the homepage, and then I have local business schema with the appropriate subtype, which for me would be home and construction business. But we have the corporation schema on the homepage, which is the organization schema. I prefer to use corporation schema when it's a for-profit business. which most of them are, right? So you can see that I have that here for the individual location. And then if we go look at the location landing page, well, this one actually does have a GBP. It's not been rebranded to this brand name though. It's still the old brand name, which was Tree Care HQ. But if we look at this one has the home and construction business schema on it, right? So that's what I would, so currently, yeah, my Felling Pro does not have that. And it's just because I haven't taken the time to create that. It's gonna be a pretty big, it's gonna take a while to do that, right? Because if I'm gonna do it properly with all the references, you can do it with just organization schema for the brand itself without doing the reference to all the local locations. You can certainly do that too, and that would be much simpler to prepare. But in that case, you should just have not location neutral or non-location specific same as attributes. So an example of that would be like if you look this one, I believe this one has, yeah, see this one has its own. Let's find another one. Yeah, so this is a generic, or when I say generic, but it's a general Facebook page. I don't have an image there. That's weird. I don't know why there's no image there. I have a Felling Pro tree services, like just a general Facebook page that is referenced in some of these locations that I don't have specific social media accounts for that particular location, if that makes sense. So that's what I would do is have an overall kind of general branded social media accounts for the primary brand. And then if you have location specific assets for individual locations, then you would just reference those in the same as attribute to the local business schema for that particular location. That's clear. Okay, good question. Moving on. Okay, next one's from Alex. Alex says, Bradley, can you talk about robots.txt file, or if you have any recommendations on how you would set it up? Should we block certain bots, etc., or do you just leave the robots file unmodified when publishing a GHL site? Yeah, and the GHL sites, I just leave it unmodified. I don't mess with it for that. I haven't tested with any doing. I haven't really felt the need to with high level sites to add a specific robots.txt file. With WordPress though, I think it's depending on what plugins you're using, which page builders you're using, that kind of stuff. There's oftentimes it's required in order to prohibit crawlers, preferably Google, from crawling parts of the site because it wastes crawl budget, right? It wastes it uses more of Google's resources than is needed when it's crawling pages and URLs, et cetera, or sections of the site that it has no business crawling because it's never going to index them anyway. So why? Why would they need to be crawled? Why waste crawl budget on that? And so part of the helpful content update, guys, was Google is addressing sites and technical SEO errors and points of crawl resistance, as Cecilia has mentioned many times, or had kind of get one of our members, Cecilia, mentioned the term crawl resistance. And so a point of crawl resistance is like a demerit for the overall quality score for the site. And so anytime you're telling the Googlebot or allowing the Googlebot to crawl parts of the site that aren't going to index, that shouldn't index, then that's wasting crawl budget, right? And so why not restrict that so that you're only asking Google to crawl those things that are essential, that need to be, that can and should be indexed, so that you can make the site more efficient, which Google is rewarding right now. And so I don't think it's necessary for the GHL sites, although I've not done any testing with that. I just haven't felt the need to yet. But with WordPress, I certainly do recommend it because then you can do like prohibit certain strings from being, so certain directories or anything after a particular URL string if you put, the asterisk there or whatever, it means disallow any, that's like a wild card. It says don't allow any crawling for this URL string past this point of this pattern in the URL, if that makes sense. And so there's a way to prevent Google from crawling various parts of the site in URLs like WP-JSON URLs and things like that are really unnecessary that would waste crawl budget. So if you look at Tree Care HQ, there is a plugin that I've used for that one because for a period of time there, I was getting a ton of traffic on Tree Care HQ. And so it was causing problems with speed and everything else. Just give me a second, show you which plugin it is. And so part of what I did was I did two things. I did an advanced robots.txt file. And every time I log into this stupid directory site, there's a bunch of updates. I fucking hate WordPress, just so you guys know. I really do. I can't stand it. But anyways, let me find the plugins. We'll take a look at it. I did advanced robots.txt for this one. And then I also did a Black Hole Pro, which is a kind of it integrates with the robots.txt file, but better robots.txt. That's a good plugin if you're using WordPress. If you're doing it in HighLevel, like I said, I haven't even bothered with it in HighLevel yet, so I don't have any recommendations for you. But those of you that are using WordPress, that is a good robots.txt plugin that has some advanced settings. And then the other one is the it's Black Hole Pro, I think it's called. Yeah, Black Hole Pro. If you go search that, that's protects your site against bad bots by trapping them in a virtual black hole. And I found that this is a pretty cool plugin right here, if we can find it right there. So I use this, which also gives you a kind of an advanced robots.txt file. If we just go view the site, the tree care HQ is back on page 1 for tree service directory again. I don't know why it dropped out for a while, and I really didn't spend any time trying to figure out why. I just left it alone because I just use it as a sales tool anyway. But for some reason it see here's an example. If you look at the robots.txt file here, you can see that where we're allowing and what we're disallowing. And this is what I'm talking about. So, all of that is just to get back to say it. I don't think it's necessary for HighLevel sites so much, but definitely for WordPress sites it is. Now, again, I've not spent any time investigating whether I should even add it to a HighLevel site. I just haven't had the time to do that. But now that you mentioned it, it's on my radar. I think I will take a look at it. Go look at some Search Console data for some of those sites to determine if Google is crawling things that we can restrict via robots.txt. Hopefully that's clear. And lastly, just again, that better robots.txt file, right? Or excuse me, let's go copy that and go visit that real quick because they've got some good information on their site about it as well. Yeah. So, and they've got training and stuff like that, or that kind of explains how to configure it and all that. And I'm just pointing this out again, but I know you were asking about HighLevel, but there's some good information to be gleaned from this plugin that can be then applied to a robots.txt file for a HighLevel site. Okay. All right, moving on. Zypha, what's up, buddy? I know you said you were going to tone down the questions a bit, so no sweat, man. It's all right. We appreciate the questions. He says, if the competitors are able to rank on the top in organic with only bulk spam links, how many good links will it take to overtake them if we buy your niche edits? That's a good question. There's no way for me to determine that. As many as it takes. That's the standard question. Like, how many links is it going to take? As many as it takes. And I know I'm just saying that kind of tongue in cheek, Zypha. But I mean, that's the real answer. How many links is it going to take? As many as it takes, right? So just start off slow, right? I don't know what, do a competitive link analysis. If you want me to provide a specific recommendation, then you would have to order a competitive link analysis from me, and then I can analyze it, and I could maybe give you some sort of an estimate. But that's what you call a wag, right? A wild ass guess, because you really have no way of telling. I would just start off slow. Like, I don't know what the overall competition metrics look like, but I would analyze all the top ranked competitors, right? The top 5, and look at their average number of backlinks, the average anchor text ratio, the topical metrics, all of that. And then from that, I would make recommendations as to what I think the project is going to need. Now, if it was just niche edits that you were going to be purchasing, then I would make a recommendation based upon what the data tells me. Again, I cannot give you a recommendation now because I'm not looking at the data, and I will not make link recommendations without looking at data, period. Okay. People ask me all the time, what would you do for it? I said, I always tell them, go order a competitive link analysis report, and then I'll tell you what I would do. But I won't do it without looking at data. So all I would say is based upon what the data says, I would probably recommend, 10 or 5 or 10 or 20 or some sort of number of links based upon what all the top 5 ranked competitors backlink profile looks like. And then I would say, wait until those links are delivered and indexed, right? And give it 2 to 3 weeks after they've been picked up by Google to see how the site reacts to it. And then you can always go back in and order another batch. And that's what I would do, is in small batches until I got it where I wanted it. Okay. And again, there's no way for me to tell without looking at the data, Zypha. Moving on. Is there a point to doing the competitive link analysis if all the competitors' links are bulk spammy links and their site has very low trust flow? Can't we just outrank them by a few relevant links? Well, maybe, but again, I would still analyze that top ranked data to try to determine what the overall anchor text ratios are and everything else. I mean, again, without looking at specifically why you're bringing that up. Like there's, again, I can't give you any kind of valid recommendation. Like, you know, I do a competitive link analysis for every single campaign before I ever start building links, period. It doesn't matter. Like that is standard operating procedure. Before I ever place a link to any campaign ever, we do a competitive link analysis so that we have the top ranked competitors for the specific search queries that that particular campaign or client or business or whatever wants to rank for. And then we analyze the top ranked competitors' backlink profile information, and it gives us a great starting point. It tells us the quantity, it tells us the relevance, it tells us the anchor text that we should be using, all of that. And so I'm going to determine from that, even if all of them are top and spammy, then that's great. Then I look at it and I say, hey, man, this should be a slam dunk because they have shitty, non-relevant links that are very insignificant in quality, right, or strength. And so therefore, I should be able to outrank them very quickly with just a small number of proper links, right? But again, I would want to look at that data before making any sort of a recommendation. And it's just standard operating procedure. I don't know why anybody would want to skip that step and just start building links when it's just I mean, again, you can order a competitive link analysis from me for $19, or you can do it on your own. And it might take you an hour, 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how efficient you are at doing that. But once you have it, then you'll have all the data that you need to make informed decisions as to which types, quantity, anchor text, etc., of links you should be building. Okay. Do you have a short video showing how Local Fury works? Yeah, Local Fury, you just submit your project and your keywords, and then we do the work, and you just view the reports whenever you want to log in and look at the reports. That's how it works. I'm not going to talk about how the signals are generated in a public setting. If you want that, schedule a sales call with me. I don't do any hard sales call like closing tactics or anything like that. I just talk about what the service is, how the signals are generated, show you examples, and then that's it. If it's a good fit, great. I don't try to hard close anybody on these calls. It's just this is what we do. This is how it's done. If you're interested, here's where you purchase. That's it. Okay. So if you want that specific information, schedule a call with me. Otherwise, like I said, you just submit your profile information, and we take over from there, and then you just can log in and look at the reports at any time. Okay, it's quite simple. Kolja, I think that's how Kolja. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. In your experience, what page of an entity optimized site is more likely to rank for a service and location query? The service, the location page, 100% the location page. That is what you should be trying to rank, not the service pages. If you're trying to rank the service pages, then you're going to have a service times location page for every service and for every location that you want to target. That is precisely why you want to rank the location page. Because now you only need one page for every service, and you need one page for every location, and you internally link them properly to create the association between the location and all of the services available at that location. And then on each service page, you have internal links that link to all of the location pages that are available, that service is available to. Do you understand? So it's a reciprocal link between the service page and the service page and the location page. They are linking to each other. Again, demonstrated here, which I demonstrate on these all the time. We'll just go back to this one again. Okay. Let's take a look at this. And so what I'm saying here, let me expand this so it looks a little bit better. We've got one service page. Just go look at for an example, go look at the sitemap for this one. Right, or that's right. These are all the pages on the site, is what I'm telling you. You guys see that? There's like, besides the about, contact, in terms of the privacy policy and thank you page, right? We don't have an about page on this site, but we have a contact thank you page that's the page that they go to after they submit the contact form, the privacy policy page. So other than that, there's 10 pages on this site. You get it? So there's the 3 non-essential pages, but then there's 10 essential pages. The home page, 4 service pages, and 5 service area pages. That's it. 10 pages on the site. We are not trying to rank the service page. That's why if you look at any one of the service pages, they are not optimized for any one location. Look at the SEO title. It's service brand. There is no location mention in the SEO title of the service pages because we're not trying to rank the service pages. We want location pages to rank, because anybody that's in Earlysville, for example, if they search for tree service near me, or tree service Earlysville, or tree removal Earlysville, tree trimming service Earlysville, tree trimming or tree care Earlysville, tree care near me, and they're in Earlysville, whatever. You want the Earlysville page to rank at all times, not the service page, right? And so let me just demonstrate this. We got this open right here. This is that same site we were just looking at there, right? So this right here, if we look at, let's go ahead and put the Earlysville. You see how these are currently ranking? God damn it, it won't let me sort when that's just stupid. Let me try that one more time. Okay. Well, you can see it got every one of these search queries here. I'll zoom in on this. Every one of these search queries are in the top 3. Every one of the pages that are ranking for that search query is the Earlysville page. You understand? So now let's just look at a different one. Let's look at Free Union. Okay, so I'm going to come back here and we're going to go to Free Union. See, this page is number 1 for all of those search queries. It's the same page. It's the location page, the Free Union page that is ranking for all of those search queries. It's because of the way that these pages are optimized that's why they rank, because what we're doing is creating the association between this location and these services, so that we don't have to have this page times tree removal Free Union, tree trimming Free Union, tree care Free Union, stump removal Free Union, plus tree service, which is what the homepage is optimized for, right? We'd have to have 5 pages, because remember, the homepage is optimized for tree service, and then we have tree removal, tree trimming, tree care, and stump removal. So there's really 5 service keywords that we're optimizing for, right? But there's 4 tree removal. These services fall under the tree service category. So a homepage is optimized for tree service. Each service page is optimized for the service only. And then each service area page or location page is optimized for the primary Google business category in the SEO title. It says, in this case, Free Union. So that's the location entity, tree service, that's the category, and then brand. So it's, again, that semantic triplet statement. It's just rearranged slightly. This is where they do it, what they do, who they are, right? It's still the 3 entity associations, which is brand, product or service, location. It's just rearranged, right? And then in the SEO title, or excuse me, the H1, we have the top level topic term that has the broadest keyword coverage, and that's tree maintenance. And then we duplicate we restate the location entity, but we do it now in this case with another variant, which is the comma Virginia variant. You understand? And so that's why we're able to, and then we're associating this top level service category, tree service, with Free Union, and then associating each of these individual services that fall under the tree service category with this location because of the internal links. Then if we go to any one of the the service pages, we also have the element block with the internal links to each of the location pages that this particular service is available to, right? So this is a universal element block that has internal links to the location pages that is present in every single service page, right? And then likewise, we have on every single location page, we have the internal link block that has links to the service pages, and that's universal to every location page. And that's how we're able to rank, like I showed you here, each one of these search queries for the same. It's the location page that ranks for every one of those queries, right? That's what we want. It's efficient, guys. It's a hell of a lot more efficient than having a separate page for each one of these queries, which is absolutely unnecessary when you're just saying the same damn thing over and over and over again across each city. The only thing different is the city name. That's just, it's dumb. It's not worth, I mean, we all did it. I did it too. That's because we used to have to do that to get results in local SEO. You don't have to do that anymore. In fact, that will actually hurt the performance of a site now in local search. Great question, though. Moving on. How would you structure a local business directory for a specific service type? Let's say pest control. We have a state and city location category pages and service category pages, but would you also create service and city pages like ant control in Austin, depending on the service type? The directory is about those pages that are not redundant, as is the case for local business sites. Right. I'm having a hard time understanding that question. How would you structure a local business directory for a specific service type? A local business directory. You mean, well, I mean, that's what I look at TreeCare HQ. Is that what you're asking, Kolja? I mean, I use WP Geo directory for that for TreeCare HQ, which is a WordPress plugin and theme and whatever. It's just a bunch of I hate WordPress, by the way, if I haven't already said that today, at least 3 times. But if you take a look at like I'm not sure I understand what you're asking, but if you could look at like, for example, we have a blog that's actually, yeah, that's not the same as what I'm talking about. Let me back up for a minute. I'm not sure I understand the question, so that's part of the problem. But in any case, if you take a look at this, we have service categories, right? So top level service categories: tree services, landscapers, and excavators. By the way, why do I have landscapers and excavators on my TreeCare HQ directory site when all I really work with is tree service contractors? Because some tree service contractors also do landscaping and or excavating. That's why. So that's the only reason why I have them on here. It looks like there's that must be just formatting. Anyways, the way that the geo directory creates the URL string is, I think, what you were asking about. I don't know if that was the case or not, but if we click into this, for example, you'll see how it's kind of configured there, and you can adjust that. There's settings in geo directory that allow you to change. You can have the city, which is what that is, plus state, or just the city, or just the state. There's a number of ways that you can configure these URLs. But when it comes to actually like services, that would be, let's see if we can find one that has services. Let me go back for a minute. Because there are services that can be added in my, yeah, right here. So this would be like a tree removal service. But all this does on a directory site, though, is it just says that it's only going to provide, those are what they call company tags in GeoDirectory, is how we add services there, if that's clear, right? There's company tags, and then there's the service categories themselves, which are, that's what we use, company tags as services here, if that's clear. But that all that does when you have a kind of in this case, a company tag, which is for a particular service, then all that does is it just displays those businesses that have that company tag, which is the service, added to that profile, if that's clear. And then it's done by geography too, or location, which is why you only see 2 here, because it's saying that it's only searching for this area. I don't know if that was clear. I don't think I really understand the question, but city location category pages and service category pages. Would you also create service and city pages? No, the only reason I would do something like that is if I was going to do like a top 10, like Yelp, for example. I know you got, right, let's just say ant control in Austin, Texas. Let's see. I bet you that it likely has a top 10 Yelp type of a listing. Yeah, right there. So I would do it for that reason. I don't do that with my directory, just so you guys know. I don't bother. I use my directory specifically to start conversations with business owners, tree care contractors, right? That's it. That's what I use the directory for. And it becomes a primary link building target once they become a client, right? Because then I use a portion of their budget every month to build links to my directory site, to their page on my directory site. And in the event that they want to cancel services at some point, then I can just no follow their link from the directory to their money site, but my directory site will retain the benefits of those links that their money purchased. You understand? So that's something that I do. But you could certainly create top 10 type of pages for things like that. You understand? I would probably do more general stuff, but this says pest control ants or whatever, but you could certainly do it and model it like that. And then, but the problem with that is, and maybe that's an opportunity though, right? Couldn't you actually create a top 10 list on your directory site and then just add at random 10 companies that are in that area, and then contact them and tell them like, hey, I put you on the top 10 list in the directory. I mean, you'd have to probably rank the page for it to be valuable, but if you could rank a page for something like that, and then put them on that page, you could contact them and sell them access to being on that list, right? You could monetize it, is what I'm saying. So I don't know if that was the question, but I'm going to move on anyway. Joseph says, should we separate service pages that if the service plus target location has no search volume, should we create separate service pages if that service plus target location has no search volume. In such a case, should we just reference that service in another service page? I'm not sure I understand the question, but look, just to be clear, if it's an important service to the company, create a service page for it, the product or service page, right? It doesn't matter. Look, when I talk about category and topic optimization, that's really for the location page, right? We still want to optimize the service pages at the entity level as well, if possible. But there are specific services as part of a broader service category or service type, right? There are specific services, and if they're really important to the company, then it makes sense to have, if you have a top level service category and then you have multiple supporting services that are part of that top level service category, then it makes sense to create sub pages for each of those or posts, however you want to structure it, it doesn't matter. But basically sub pages that are nested or placed within or child pages of the parent page for that primary service category. And then you have the supporting services as individual service pages that are optimized for no locations, right? It's location neutral. They're optimized to describe that service very thoroughly. And then through internal linking, the same way that I'm showing you here, you can have the internal links to those specific services. So for example, let's just say that under tree removal, I wanted to add multiple supporting services. Okay, let's say that under tree removal, I have now crane tree removal or crane assisted tree removal. How about large tree removal? How about dead tree removal? How about hazardous tree removal, right? Let's just say that I had separate services for each one of those, and I wanted to have a pay because they were very important to this particular client, okay? Then I would create as child pages of the tree removal page, I would add, like crane assisted, for example, right? It would be crane assisted, something like that. If I could spell. Whatever. Crane assisted, something like that. That would be a child page of this tree removal page that then it would talk very thoroughly just about the crane assisted tree removal service. And then back on the location pages, right? I would still have this H2, which introduces this element block. These are H3s, H3 links. Look at the hierarchy, right? This is proper HTML markup. So we have arborist services, and then those are H3 clickable links that take you to those specific pages. Well, what I would do in that case then is make these column headers, right? You can omit the images, could just be text links, but I would make these column headers with tree removal being an H3, and then I would have H4 bullet points listed right here for crane assisted tree removal, large tree removal, dead tree removal, hazardous tree removal, etc. You understand? Those would be H4s because now those H4s are subheadings that support that H3 subheading that supports that H2 heading. You get it? That's the proper hierarchy. And so again, that now what is that doing? That's associating this location with not just the general tree removal service, but now with specifically crane tree removal or crane assisted tree removal, large tree removal, dead tree removal, hazardous tree removal. You understand? That's what I'm saying. So guys, it's not necessary to create service times city. It's you just want to make sure that your internal linking is such that you're associating the location page with all of the specific services that you want. Just keep in mind, though, that when you optimize the top level service pages for the entities as well, Google already understands that for tree removal, crane assisted tree removal falls under that. So does dead tree removal. So does hazardous tree removal. So I don't recommend that you automatically go out and add all of those specific service pages as sub pages of the top level service type because it may not be necessary, and it's likely not necessary is what I'm saying, because that's what I've been trying to get at, guys. I think a lot of you are still thinking in keyword optimization terms, which is why you would want separate pages for each one of those specific services. But if you optimize the service type properly, the service type page properly, then Google already understands that those are all supporting services that are associated with that service type. So it's not necessary to create those pages because crane assisted tree removal is tree removal, right? So there's no reason to have that on as a specific sub page unless for whatever reason the client wants to see. By the way, you see how I've got these things listed on the page, guys: hazardous tree removal, emergency tree removal, storm cleanup, shrub removal, poison ivy removal. I don't have these as sub pages because that's additional and unnecessary work, in my opinion. Now, I'm not tracking those keywords. That would be interesting to test, by the way. So maybe I'll set that up after our call today. And then maybe next week we can address that and come back and take a look at it and see, like, how does it rank for poison ivy removal plus Earlysville or Free Union or whatever, right? But my point is, if you wanted to, you could have them as child pages of the top level service page, and then we would change your internal linking to include, and I would do a proper hierarchy, H2, H3 for service type headings. So top level service pages, that's what those are. And then you would have supporting service pages as H4s underneath their respective H3s. Okay. And then same thing on each one of those supporting service pages, if you needed to create them, then you would have an internal link block that would list and link to all of these location pages as well, which is how you associate that specific service to each of those locations that it's available. Guys, it's all about association. That's the whole point, right? We don't have to have a page for everything if we can associate the proper pages, if we can associate the service page and the location pages properly through internal linking, then we don't need to have all those individual pages. All right, hopefully that's clear. Moving on. All right, how do you generate privacy policy in terms, et cetera, for LLGs or for general sites? Do you have an SOP? And is this important? Well, I do privacy policy for sure. That's why it's available, or you see it on all of my LLG sites, because if you have a contact form where you're collecting data, you should have a privacy policy. It's pretty standard language though, so I mean, just go search for Google privacy policy, terms of service, whatever, and you can model those. Just copy something that's free to use, common, what do they call it, Creative Commons or whatever, something like that, just and use it. Okay. Do we have an SOP? No, I don't have an SOP for that because it's just part of a normal site build. Not specifically just for that. I mean, it's part of a site build. Do we have SOPs for LLG sites? Yes, we do. Both high level and WordPress. If homepage is the location landing page, should it have organization schema or local biz schema or both? It can have both. If the homepage is a location landing page, it can be both. Typically, I would have it as, it will be organization schema that then references the local business schema with the appropriate subtype in the organization schema, right? That's how I would do it. Or the org schema should be on the about page section. No, it doesn't matter. Remember, by the way, you can also do an array. An array, you can have both organization and local business schema in the array. Right here, let me give you an example of that. Give me 1 second. I have to get off on time today too, guys, because I got a sales call with a tree guy. So at 5 p.m. So I definitely have to be off probably 2 minutes before the top of the hour. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. What was the question again? I just lost my train of thought. Oh, array schema. Oops, I must have passed it. Right here. This is what shit. Of course, it's not in a good spot. Anyways, an array would be something like this, where you can actually have organization and the specific, local business subtype or local business or whatever the most specific subtype is. And then you just have it like this, at type, and then it would be, organization or corporation, or, maybe it's a medical business, right? There are underneath organization schema, there's medical business is another subtype, or that would be relevant for that. I don't know. I'm just stating whatever the appropriate organization type is that you want to use, it would be referenced there and here. And this is how you do it. This is how you open up that schema so that you have an array where you can show multiple types, which can be both local business and organization schema, if that's clear. Okay. All right, next one, Nihal, Nihal, I guess, Nehal. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Forgive me, my ignorant American self. Hey, Brad, thank you for answering and creating a video on my previous question. What should you do if keywords are constantly declining from the last 30 days? Here is more context. From my understanding and research, it is a backlink penalty because the website I'm working on was handled by another agency before, and I reverse engineered a few of their clients. They got hit as well and have almost the same link profile. Okay. I don't use SEMrush link toxicity, but the negative network graph feature shows that the domain has direct link farms and dangerous backlink profile. Yeah, by the way, I think SEMrush is awful for link analysis because they are way, way, way overly sensitive. I hate SEMrush for backlink analysis, just to be clear. I think it's absurd at how overly sensitive it is, in my opinion. I use Majestic though, and if I were to analyze the backlink profile in Majestic, they have the link graph feature in Majestic, which is shows you kind of link networks and footprints and how sites interlink with each other that are all linking to the same site. And so it's really it's a very, very visual graph too. It's actually fascinating to look at times. But that's a great way to be able to determine if they are using link networks, etc. So I can't speak on SEMrush just because I don't use it because I don't like it. But definitely you can, like, Majestic would be something I would want to look at that and then determine what they're doing. Another important point is majority of the pages that were indexed on Google, if I inspect and test them in Google Search Console, it shows page can be indexed, but I don't see page can be indexed, but I don't see any errors, etc. If I inspect and test them, it shows page can be indexed, but I don't see any errors. So what's wrong then? Yeah, I mean, I don't understand that point, but anyway, what am I doing now? Building new links that competitors have and some high quality GPS niche edits. Okay. Guest posts and niche edits. I also have started another domain just in case this one doesn't recover. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I mean, look, I get it. Try to recover the current domain. If it's a backlink penalty, then those are tougher to recover from than on-page penalties. They are. So just to be clear. You can try, though. You can try disavowing links. You can try a number of things. But at some point, there's basically, cut your losses and just change to the domains. I'm not telling you to do that right now. Go ahead and continue trying to recover the site. But at some point, you have to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, if I don't get it recovered by this time or after this many attempts or whatever, then I'm just going to redirect, set up the new site and do a redirect. And sometimes a redirect to a new domain, the new domain it doesn't transfer the penalty, right? So just be careful. Because I mean, I've done that. I talked about it recently, but I had a multi-location lead gen business that got hit with an algorithmic penalty, a link penalty. And I don't know, I couldn't recover it. I spent 5 months. I tried everything all the tricks up my sleeve that I had, and I could not recover that domain. So after 5 months and a lot of effort and a lot of wasted time, I finally just started building. I bought the same domain just with a different extension. So exact same name, just a different extension. I bought a .org extension. And then I started, instead of having all of the location pages as inner pages, I started creating separate subdomain sites with the city name as the subdomain on that new domain with the .org extension. And so they were standalone sites. And then I started redirect the inner page from the main site to the subdomain site, and it didn't catch the penalty. So the primary domain had caught a penalty, and I was unable to recover it. But then when all I did was I just redirected the location landing page URL from the main domain to the root domain, so the home page of the subdomain site on the new domain. And I was able to start recovering most of those sites. I still haven't transferred all of them. I started that over 2 years ago, and I still haven't done all of them yet. Just the ones that were important. And I started to recover that site. So I think that's a good option if needed. But I would do that, certainly try to recover the main domain first, which apparently you are. So I think what you're doing sounds to be reasonable. Uzaifa says, in WordPress, how do you collect form responses? Do you have form plugin? I use HighLevel forms, right? Because I use HighLevel, I create the form in HighLevel, and then I just embed the HighLevel form because HighLevel is my CRM. It's also, I create sub accounts for my tree contractors, even if they don't use the sub account, which most of them don't, by the way. Most of my tree guys do not use HighLevel, but they have sub accounts, right? Because I use the sub account to collect all the leads that come in from those sites, as well as because we do call centers. And so anytime the lead comes in from a phone call, it goes into their sub account too. It creates an opportunity card in the pipeline, right? And that's how we track the number of leads that were generated for that client. Because form fills go in there and so do phone calls. So all leads go into the sub account, even if the client doesn't use it, which most of them don't, right? Just to be clear. But I use HighLevel for that. Colton says, when creating LLG sites using GoHighLevel, is it possible to do so with yes, $97 a month plan? Well, okay. No, forgive me. Yeah, I mean, essentially you could, but I don't know how you would do it the way that I have it set up where we deploy them via form input, because that is account specific. That's all done through custom values, which are account level shortcodes. Remember, there's custom fields and custom values. Custom fields are contact level shortcodes and contact level data. And then custom values are account level short codes and data, if that makes sense. And so the way that I have it set up for LLG sites is you create a sub account for each location or each LLG site that you want to deploy. And then you, because we have the 9 forms for that are submitted that build the site, and those are all custom value updater forms. So it could maybe be done with a $97 a month account, but you'd have to modify the build process so that it wasn't driven from custom values, because there's no way you'd be able to do that. You'd have every time you added a new site, you'd be adding like another, whatever it is, 77 custom values or whatever the number is. It's a lot, 200, whatever, it's a lot. Okay. And so there's no way that it would be unmanageable. So you'd have to reconfigure how I have the snapshot set up to, and I'm not sure that it can be done. I'd have to think through it. And I'm not going to, because that's not how we have it configured. But it could likely be done, but you'd have to think through how to do it properly if you wanted a deployment the way that we have it, which is done through high-level contact forms right now. So anyway, do I need a separate sub account for each LLG site? Yes, the way that I have the snapshot set up, you do. Okay. You can create as many sites as you want under one sub account, but the deployment process would, at least the way I have it set up, wouldn't work without, so you'd be manually building those sites as opposed to just having form inputs. Okay. And so, yeah, you can build as many sites as you want, but it would be inefficient, at least the way that I have it set up. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, Colton. Moving on. Next one. I've only got a few more minutes, guys, so stand by. Paul Rushing. The Wikipedia entities for the niches I cover do not follow the normal usage in the US. Gutters is the main entity is rain gutters. That is correct. Gutters or seamless gutters are common. Vernacular gutter installation is the magic term. And while it does mention seamless gutters on the page, it is really the main type of gutter sold in the USA. Box gutter has its own page, but this is a specialty product not common on homes unless they have a pool cage. For residential painter, the Wikipedia page is house painter and decorator. That is correct. House painter has the second best search volume in that niche. However, house painters have never been considered decorators in the US and the UK. The decorator is synonymous with house painter. Decorator is a recognized trade. Okay, please show me how you would pull Wikipedia entities for either service trade, as both are ambiguous to me. I'm trying to learn the new ways, and in the past, I've always targeted pages to gutter installation and house painter. That worked, but I always want to improve. All right, well, I don't have much time, so I'm not going to be able to get through. God damn it, there's only one more question, and that's from Tyler. I don't think I'm going to have time to get through both of these. But the first one, to answer your question, you're right. There are some times where there are some industries that doesn't fit real nicely into the whole category and topic optimization method that I've been teaching. Some of them are difficult. Like, again, the we buy houses industry, right? Like, that's very difficult because there's no proper Google business category for those. The best one is real estate consultant. And that's not really relevant to what they do, if that makes sense, right? So I know I've still got a painting contractor as a client who's a legacy client, who's been with me for many, many years. And you're right, house painter and decorator is the Wikipedia entity for that. And there's no other entity for that. So by the way, though, take a look at this, right? We look at house painter, and I'm just going to put that in for Wikipedia, and it'll come up, right? We're going to go look at this. You also have house painting, which house painting is just the redirect to here. So you see that is the appropriate term. This might be the official entity term in Wikipedia, but you can see that there are different terms that are interchangeable. There's synonyms for this that can be used. The other thing is, remember, you can click on tools, what links here, hide transclusions and hide links, and click go. And any of those terms there are also relevant entity terms that can be used interchangeably as synonyms for that term there, right? So again, these are all terms that you can use for that. The other one I think you said was gutters. Yeah, that's right. And I know gutters, right? Gutter. And then it's going to say gutter is a disambiguation page. The type of gutter in which you would be talking about, like gutter installation, that's rain gutter. And you're right, there's multiple variations of the entity term there. Remember, you can click this again and get additional entities. Now, seamless gutters is a type of gutter. It still falls under rain gutter. You understand? Seamless gutter is just a type of rain gutter. That's it. So seamless gutter would fall on, this is the appropriate topic term, or excuse me, yeah, the appropriate entity, and that's what I call as a top level topic term. So there's roof gutters, rain gutters, etc. So like I said, you can optimize the SEO title for the type of query that is familiar to the consumer. But then in the H1 of the page is where you would then reference the appropriate entity term. And you can use any of these variants, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's how I do it here, guys. That's what I'm saying. If you look, the top level topic term, which is the keyword or the top level entity that has the broadest keyword coverage, is tree maintenance. But tree maintenance is not a familiar term to consumers. I know it because I tested this. I used to put tree maintenance in the SEO title, but I was getting skipped over. It's, even if I was ranking, my click-through rate went down. You understand? And it's because the consumer would see tree maintenance and not realize that tree maintenance is tree service. So they would skip over that and click on the other listings that had tree service in the SEO title. So that's why I switched it. I started playing with that and I switched it around and I put the top level topic term in the H1 and the top level or the term that would be most familiar in the tree service business, it's the category tree service. So we put that in the SEO title because it's familiar to the consumer, but I'm still optimizing the page with the tree maintenance topic term at the H1. And that I've tested this. It makes no difference in the performance of how the page ranks. The page will rank with either with those two transposed or the way that it is now, or with it transposed, it will rank. But when I had tree maintenance as the SEO titles, which I had tested that for months, my click-through rates went down because again, it wasn't common. So even though, you know, if you're targeting gutter, excuse me, where the hell did that go? It must be over here. Yeah. If you're targeting gutters, seamless gutters, and that is what the search query is that is most familiar and the one that's the most popular, then just go ahead and optimize the service page for seamless gutters, right? And then in the H1, you can say seamless rain gutter installation and maintenance services, right? Remember, maintenance does not include installation. Maintenance equals repairs, though, and servicing, inspection, repairing, and replacing. But installation is a separate term. So I would have something like seamless rain gutters, rain gutter installation and maintenance service, or like that in the H1. Now you're hitting multiple entities that are going to associate that seamless gutter or seamless rain gutter with maintenance installation, which includes repairs, replacing all of that, and installation and everything else. Hopefully that's clear. All right. So Tyler, I did miss Tyler's question, so I'm going to highlight that for tomorrow, or excuse me, not tomorrow, for next week, and I'll make sure that I actually answer that one next week. So Tyler, I apologize if you're watching this now or on the replay that I didn't get to it, but I ran out of time and I have another call coming up, so I do have to jump. Any questions that I need to address in the comments?
Yeah, I was just checking that out. Let me see. We answered that. We got to that. Did you see the one about the edgy links?
EDU links?
Yeah.
Hello, do you think there's a role for EDU links in a local business website, perhaps as foundational links? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt. It can't hurt. It's just another link source, another link type. So yeah, of course you can do it. I mean, I don't go out and specifically try to get them anymore. I did for a long time. I don't anymore, but you certainly can. The best way to do it though is if you can actually get like a real valid link from a local, especially a local educational institution that's in with the same general physical region. That's going to be much more valuable than just generic EDU links from else. I mean, an EDU link is still a good link. It can be still a good link, but it's going to be much more valuable if it comes from a local educational institution, especially for local search.